Hello and welcome to another video. Today I am making a video of a card design that I kind of messed around with the dimensions to get to what I wanted it to be, and I'm going to show you one version of it using Night of Navy and this beautiful frosted paper here. The paper is called Feels Like Frost, and it's 6x6 paper, where on one side it's got this kind of varying silver patterns, and on the other you've got photorealistic images. So let me show you how to make this. So I am using the Perfectly Plaid stamp set for this beautiful Merry Christmas here. And it is in part because it actually fits really snugly right in this tailored tack punch. So I thought that would make a really nice card. So I've already got that loaded up onto my stamp or my block, and I brought out my adhesive back snowflakes in case I want to add them. And this is a scrap for my sentiment. I've got my Night of Navy ink pad for the stamping of my sentiment. This is an example of a card that is just monochromatic in the sense that it's more or less just the one color. We've got the silver as well, so it's a little bit different, but it is pretty much one color. So let me explain what you need. So the first things first, you need a piece of cardstock. I recommend that you start with a piece that's 4 1/4 by 11, and go ahead and just score it at your 5.5 location, and then move it over 1 1/4 inches and then cut that. Okay, so go ahead and do that. If you don't, and if you want to just pre-cut it as is, it is 6 3/4. So 6 3/4 inches scored at 1 1/4 on either side. Okay, so there's that. You'll need of the same color base. You can choose to vary up the bases if you prefer. So this piece here is 2 3/4 by 4 inches, and this piece is 1 1/4 by 4 inches. So I actually got this piece and this, or sorry, by 4 1/4 inches, I apologize. I actually got these pieces from that same one, and the only waste, I thought I had kept it, I'm sorry. Nope, maybe not. There's only like 1/4 inch strip from our original paper that is not used in this card design. So that's kind of why I liked with these measurements what that was. So let me show you how to assemble the card. So first things first, you'll need your DSP cut as well. So this is just a 1 by 4 inch strip, and this is the other 1 by 4 inch strip. This piece here is 2 1/2 by 4 inches, and let me show you how to adhere them. So I would fold it first just to make sure that it'll end up being centered. I fold it flat a little bit, and then I use my bone folder to help it along. Then these two pieces can be adhered straight onto your pieces of cardstock that are essentially the equivalent of 1 1/4 inches by 4 1/4 inches. So I am simply using the Tombow liquid adhesive. I found this to be a really good card design for this particular glue. This would probably work just as fine with the snail, not the snail, oh my, with the seal or the Seal Plus. But I found that I liked having the wiggling option, if my paper didn't quite line up the way I had hoped. And so if you apply the liquid glue, see how I'm kind of wiggling it around? I can get it to the corners that I want it to be in. So I'm going to do that now with my second piece. And there we go. Again, wiggle it around a little bit. There we go. So there's that. Those are my silver pieces. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece onto that piece. I chose to keep this one more or less monochromatic. I thought that it would make for a really nice look to the card. I will show you the other one I've made using the exact same design, the exact same paper. The one difference is that, well, I guess it's just that I use a different paper from the paper pack. So that's really the only thing that I did differently. So there's that. So here's the other thing, the other major difference. I'm using Night of Navy as my card base, which is quite dark. And as a result, it's going to need some kind of a piece behind it. But what I did with my other ones, see here, I am going to put this right here at the bottom. And then I'm going to lay this on top, and you'll find that I kind of like having this blue in the background. So the piece I'll have for writing inside my card, I want it to be underneath where it would have this piece. So I recommend that you go ahead and use this piece once it's glued down to actually put this one down underneath. So like use it as a guide to space it on, to get it correctly spaced. So for this, all you need to do is just a little bit of glue right on either ends. And that's all you need. You don't need much. You don't need to go overboard. You just need to put it there. And this piece, for example, say you had glued it upside down, you could definitely flip your rectangular piece there. So now I'm going to keep this down, layer it mostly center here, and you can absolutely use these grid marks if you'd like to make sure it's really well centered. I've just made a fair amount of these, so I'm pretty confident. Again, recommending the liquid glue for the wiggling option. There we go. And so now, ta-da, we've got that. And then, let's see, it kind of looked like it was a little off. Yeah, that's fine. We're looking good. There we go. Yeah, that's better. So now, I'm going to use this piece and glue it essentially the equivalent of underneath right here, which looks like it's going to be just exactly centered. Because if I put it right there, notice you don't see it. If you wanted to, you could like stamp one of these in the Night of Navy in the corner. You could add, you know, little pine cones. You could have an inside sentiment here stamped on there if you wish. But for the purposes of my card, I'm going to just leave it blank. It's already small enough where if I'm using this to send, you know, my Christmas greetings to a family member, I'd want to have enough space to at least write something of value there. So I'm going to go ahead and put it down. And in this case, you're essentially just centering it on your paper because I centered it here. If I hadn't centered it on here, you would have had to maybe do some math. So lastly, let's do our stamping. So all I'm doing, I'm opening up my Night of Navy ink pad. I am using a photopolymer stamp, and so I do recommend, if you don't already have one, get a Stamping Pierce mat. That is going to be incredibly helpful in getting your photopolymer stamps to stamp really nicely. And I'll show you the one I used with my other sample. There we go. Beautiful. So, and that is literally all the stamping I do for this card. I really let the DSP do the talking for me. So now I'm using my Tailor Tag punch. You can tell I was using this same scrap for my other cards. So I lined it up where, see how that M and that C are touching practically? So I essentially make it have just a little space and then do the same thing with the S and then pop that out. If that's a little too close for you, you could definitely use like a circle punch or maybe those rectangular stitched dies. That would be lovely. But I wanted to make sure that I could create them pretty quickly. Plus, I was actually not in my crafting area when I made this card originally. And so I would, you know, clearly want to have that be a thing. So I'm going to put it here on this side so that this part of the artwork is still visible. Yeah, that'll be pretty. I think up here versus down there. No, I kind of like the down there. Leaves the black, the blue of the background. Yep, I'm going to put it down here. So I'm going to flip this, and I'm going to put 3 dimensionals here. One for each of my, essentially the top, the bottom, and then the side is going to rest on. So, and if you were putting it, say, on this side, you could essentially just put your 3 dimensionals on the opposite side, in the middle, obviously, and then off to the left. So there we go. Let's see. And the trick here to figuring out if your piece is even, ready? Even if your font, even if your stamping was a little off, here's what I did. I essentially see, is it aligned either with, does it look parallel to the paper or to the line of my cardstock or to this? And if you look only at the points, which is usually pretty helpful, the lack of a distinct pattern to this paper doesn't lend itself well to being a good guide. So in this case, I'm gonna push it down. And what's a card without a little bit of bling? So there are two sheets that come with this. One is more of an iridescent and it has kind of a pink look. And these, let's see if I can show you, have kind of a purple, green, blue look. So I'm gonna go through here and find the ones that look most bluish. You could definitely alternate them and just use them all up indiscriminately. I'm going to actively look for ones that'll match a little bit better. So there's that. So the eye likes groups of 3. So I've added, or I say groups of 3, but really it's just odd numbers. So I've added 3 of them on here. You could definitely add like 5 if you really wanted to. So that right there is my card. Let me show you the other one I made. I used the same paper, but I used this right here. So I used Purple Posy as my background. I used a different sheet of paper as my kind of star of the show. The Purple Posy ink, the Stampin' Up, the required kind of qualifications, it didn't really match up. And so they actually pulled that color. So even though I have an ink pad, I haven't even opened it yet because of the quality testing that it didn't make. So like you can't actually buy this because it didn't meet the standards that Stampin' Up wanted it to meet. But there are blends that do match. There are lots of embellishments that have Purple Posy in them. So just because you don't have the ink pad doesn't mean you can't do something with it. This paper here has Highland Heather in it as well as Rococo Rose as well. But I thought that this paper here, while it didn't really have a ton of Purple Posy really obviously in there, I used Highland Heather, but I stamped off. So I used the same, Highland Heather and Purple Posy are not the same color, but they are, well here, I'll show you. I've got the 2 ink pads right here. So there's Highland Heather and there's Purple Posy. So you can tell that while they are not the same color, they're a bit in a vein of similar shades. So this color stamped full strength is going to be pretty dark, but if you stamp off, it gets you a little bit closer to this one. And so that's what I've done here. So it's not perfect, but I think it looks really nice. But Purple Posy is such a light color for cardstock base that I really didn't feel the need to add a piece of the white cardstock there. If you are the type of person that really likes to have it nonetheless, that is absolutely your prerogative. You could definitely do so. I added the opposite little snowflake embellishments for this card. So let me know which one you like better. So these are using the beautiful Feels Like Frost paper, and in this case Night of Navy, and in this case Purple Posy. So if you need any of these materials, go ahead and get in touch and I will help. The link in my blog will have the items that you could just click on them and add them to a cart. And the other thing I wanted to mention was... Oh yes, if you are interested in paper, there is, for the entire month of October, there are paper samples that are actually going to be on sale for 15% off. I will have an image on my blog of all of the different pictures of the paper that is on sale, and if you wish to subscribe, go ahead and do so below. I have already had 100 subscribers and I was super thrilled, and I am in talks with the lucky winner who won a bundle of I'd like to think all year round use, and I will be giving away a different bundle. I haven't decided which one yet when I hit 200 subscribers. So if you need anything, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye.